All right, good evening, everybody. Today we're going to be doing practice on problem solving for two-step inequalities. I'll start with the number 8. So I've got the evens. It says 8 less than the product of a number in n. The product of a number n and 1/5 is no more than 95. Well, 8 less than means I will subtract 8 from something. The product means I'm multiplying n to something, and they say it's 1/5, so this would be 1/5. Is no more than, well, that means it has to be less than or equal to 95. Now I know that I'm going to go ahead and add 8 to both sides. And when I add 8 to both sides, if I was doing this underneath here, that would give me 95 plus 8, which is 103. My symbol still comes down the same way. And since I got rid of this, this is going to still leave me 1/5 n. Now I know that I have to multiply 5 to 1/5, because that's really 5 over 1. That's the inverse of 1/5. And whatever I multiply to one side, I have to multiply to the other side. So n has to be less than or equal to, 103 times 5 is going to give me 515. So my answer must be 515. All right, I leave number 9. Let's mosey on down to number 10. So solve the inequalities and compare. Well, the first one here has 2x plus 6 is less than 10. To do this, I would have to subtract 6 from both sides. Well, that's going to leave me with 2x is less than 4. Let's bring this over here. 2x minus, 2x is less than 4. And now I know I have to divide 2 away, which means I'll divide from the other side. And that's going to leave me with x is less than, 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, and over here where our 2's are canceling out, so that left x all by itself. So the answer to this one is x is less than 2. Now they tell me to solve b. This time they put negative 2x plus 22 is less than 18. Well, once again, I have to get my numbers on the other side where my letter is not. So I'm going to minus 22. Whatever I do to one side, I'll do to the other. Well, let's see. Negative 22 and 18, that's going to be negative 4. And it's still less than. And then negative 2x. Here's where it gets a little tricky. Remember, when we have a negative coefficient like we do here, and we go to divide or multiply that coefficient away, in this case we're going to be dividing it away. Whatever we divide by a negative number, we have to turn our inequality symbol in the other direction. Well, now negative 2 is canceled out, leaving x by itself. And negative divided by negative is positive, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this time it would be x is greater than 2. Okay? And let's see. We can move on now to part C. Which is the correct comparison of solution 2x plus 6 is less than 10, and negative 2x plus 22 is less than 18. It says, which is the correct comparison? The inequalities have some common solutions. The inequalities have one common solution. The inequalities have no common solution, or the inequalities have some solution. Remember, this on a number line represents any number that is less than 2. but not including 2. This inequality represents any number that's greater than 2, but not 2, which means they don't have anything in common. So these inequalities have no common solutions. My answer would be C. All right, let's move on down to the next even one, which will be number 12. On number 12, it says, a manager needs to rope off a rectangular section for a private party. The length of the section must be 7.6 meters. The manager can use no more than 28 meters of rope. What inequality could you use to find the possible width of the roped off section? Well, they said it's going to be a rectangle, so that's going to be a shape of a rectangle. And they're talking about the length, that's usually the long side. And they said that's 7.6. Well, if this side is 7.6, then this side must be 7.6. And we don't know what the width is, so we'll leave these as W, standing for the width, because whatever this is, this one will be the same. Now it says you can use no more than 28 meters of rope, so that means everything has to equal 28. But what we have to realize, it says no more than, so it can't equal 28, but it could also be less than 28. Right? It can't be more than 28, but it could be less. Now let's see. Well, it says to find W, I could go ahead and put this in the equation. There's two 7.6s, so we could say 2 times 7.6. And I'll just put 2 like that. Let's see. And then, let's see, we're talking about, imagine these, we're talking about the length of the rope to go around. So this is the perimeter. And that'd be added to, well, 2 W's. We don't know what W is, but we do know there'd be 2 of them. If I take 2 times 7.6, 7.6 plus 7.6 is going to be 2 to the 1, looks like 15.2. And we're going to add that to 2W. And that's got to be less than or equal to 28. And once again, we can go ahead and subtract the number from this side. And whatever I subtract to one side, I'll subtract to the other. And this is going to leave me with 2W over here. Now I can say that I need to subtract 15.2 from 28. This is going to be 8. We borrowed 1 to make that a 10. So 7 minus 5 is going to be 2. And 2 minus 1 will be 1. And so we did not divide by, well, right now we just, we're doing the addition and subtraction part, so that's going to be the same symbol. Now we're going to divide 2 away from both sides, so we can get W by itself. We're not dividing by negative numbers, so I can leave it as less than. And 12.8 divided by 2 is going to give me 6.4. Not that I was looking for the answer, because all they said was write an inequality that I could use. So in actuality, my answer lied right here. Okay, I could have even used this one here after I multiplied 2 and 7.6 as an answer, and it would have been just fine. But I took it a step further because I was curious to find out what W was, and W does equal 6.4. All right, so let's go on to number 14. Well, number 14 says a pool can hold 850 gallons. It now has 598 gallons of water and is being filled at a rate shown. how many more minutes can the water continue to flow into the pool before it overflows, right, and solve inequality? Well, if it can hold 850, that means it has to equal 850 or be less. It says it now has 598, so 598 is going to be added to something. We have to figure out, it says how many more minutes. Well, we must have a rate given to us somewhere. Let me go see if I missed a picture or something to add it onto this clue. And there you go. I found the picture that goes with it. And it says that it's filling at a rate of 15.75. So I'm going to have to multiply that times the minutes in order to find out how many minutes, because that's what it's asking, how many more minutes. So let's see, 15.75. And now we're ready to find out. It says write and solve. We wrote an inequality. Let's solve it. We're going to subtract 598 from both sides. And when I do, well, that's going to leave me with 2. Because that's going to be borrowing 1. Which means I had to borrow 1 from here. And here. Borrowing 1 will make this 14. So 14 minus 9 is 5. And this turned into, well, if I borrowed 1 from 8, that would have made it 7. And 7 minus 5 is 2. So, oh, I see, that was a 7. This is less than or equal to. And now we have 15.75 is less than or equal to 252. Going into the second step, I realize that I have to get 15.75 away from m, so I'm going to divide 15.75 away. And whatever I divide from one side, I have to divide from the other. And now I've got rid of the numbers here, leaving m by itself. I didn't divide by negative numbers, so my sign will stay the same direction. And now I'm going to use my trusty calculator to help me out here and tell me very quickly what is 252 divided by 15.75. And that equals 16. So m is less than or equal to 16. Now looking at this as the answer for this question, it says how many more minutes can the water continue to flow into the pool before it overflows? So 16 more minutes, right? Actually, yep, 16 minutes or more, 16 minutes or more. Let's write that correctly. 16 minutes or more. Actually, our inequality is down there, so 15 minutes or less, really, right? It can be equal to 16 minutes. 16 minutes. Yeah, looks to me that no more than 16 minutes. All right, so let's go to number. Let's see, that was part of 15. I'll do 16. It says Kari is building a rectangular garden bed. Let's get our garden bed set up here. It says the length is 6 feet, so that's 6 feet here and 6 feet here. She has 20 feet of board to make the side. So all of this has got to equal 20. Right, and solve an inequality to find the possible width of our garden bed. Well, once again, the width is going to be represented by the letter W, and this is going to simply be 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 2W equals 20. We're going to subtract 12. And whatever I subtract from one side, I subtract from the other. And now we've got 2W is going to be equal. No, remember this says the length is 6 feet. She has 20 feet of boards to make a side. So that means at most it could equal 20. So it could be less. All right. So that means this will be less than or equal to 20 minus 12 will give us 8. And now I will divide by 2 to get W by itself. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this will tell me, since I didn't divide by a negative number, the answer is W is less than or equal to 4. And let me not forget that we need to get our code word in. And my snack for this evening tonight that I have been enjoying are Whoppers. So the code word today is Whoppers, all by itself, okay? If that's on your paper, then I will know to go ahead and give you a treat. All right, well, I hope this helped you with your homework, and I will look forward to seeing you. Have a great night.